Hey y'all, what's up? Big Wooly here, and welcome back to another episode of our FTB Skies Expert Let's Play. So, we didn't quite get through our goals in the last episode, and I'm sorry, there's a lot to do, and this is why I don't necessarily like the mechanism reactors stuff. It's so in-depth and so complicated and, twisted and crossed, and you guys say that as I'm on the second story of twisted and crossed setups I've had to do, but, it's always intimidated the crap out of me, but we're gonna do it. So without further ado, we shall press on into mechanism reactors. Alright, so at the tail end of the last episode, we realized we hadn't made our hazmat suit, we hadn't made any waste barrels, although we'd added a pattern for them. I don't know if I did that on camera or off camera, but we did. So I went ahead and crafted some of those. But we need to get up our Geiger counter, our dosimeter, all of our hazmat stuff, and then we need to talk about what we're going to do with the superheated sodium or the steam that our fission reactor is producing, because that's the other side of this equation. Now, in some mod packs, you can get cheeky, and with a fluid trash can, you can just void the steam or the superheated sodium. Now, whether they've been blacklisted or not, I don't know. I'm not Minecraft nerdy enough to go look at config files and figure that out. Nor do I really care. But I think we may try it at first because we can always turn it off if it doesn't void the steam. And I don't want to try sodium until we're actually ready to make a turbine, if we need to make a turbine. So we'll see how we go there. Right now, the goal is we need 5,000 millibuckets of nuclear waste, because the nuclear waste is 10 millibuckets of that. Oh no, we need 50,000, something like that. We need to end up with 5,000 millibuckets of plutonium, which we get 1 millibucket per 10 millibuckets of nuclear waste, which is processed, and I think it's expensive. I think the isotopic centrifuge uses a lot of power, but I don't remember exactly how much. I guess we could go look at what this one's using and see. Well, it's not running right now. So, and that brings me to the next one. So chemical, we had crafted this disc, but the crafting wasn't completed at the tail end of the last episode. So let's go give that fissile fuel somewhere to go. Don't need to put it in there. We're going to put it into our AE2. So let's toss this in. Oh my God, what is being stored in there? A bunch of stuff. We really want fissile fuel in there, though. Not all this other stuff. Dang it. Mistakes were made. It's the IO, what is it? The cell workbench? Is that what we need? Cell workbench. Yes. Okay, we're going to need one of these then, because we need to be able to tell our chemical discs what goes in them. So let's make a chemical disc. Otherwise, yeah, I forgot about that. Let's make one more. And then we're going to go ahead and make this cell workbench right here. We're not going to make a pattern for it because you really only need one. But what the cell workbench is going to allow us to do is, it's kind of like the locking thing for your drawers. It's going to allow us to tell it, hey, you're only allowed to take this, or you're only allowed to take these two things, or whatever. We do that in the cell workbench, and then when you put your storage cell in here, it will only store the fluids you want it to store. Now, why does this chemical one not have fissile fuel on it, or does it? Is that what I'm getting 11 buckets of? Let's see if we see fissile fuel in storage. We do. So it is storing fissile fuel. What's that other thing it stored? Was that stored? That might be a chemical that was stored in one of our crafters that didn't have a place to go back to or something. So that may get pulled out of there. So this may not be as big of a problem, but we definitely do want to get that cell workbench going so that we can make sure that the next stuff doesn't go to the wrong place. So right now, both of these need calculation processors or the same machine to make them. So we're waiting on that. But we have the fissile fuel in here, which is the goal. That's what we needed to be able to proceed. So let's head back to our compact machine and let's build our fission reactor. Now, I'm going to look at this ponder with you guys for the fission reactor because, you know, as I said, it's not a process that I have done too many times. And I think the last time I did it was all the mods 8 or was it 7? Might have been 7. So it's been a minute. All right, so these, let's go check the ponder together. Click here. Yep. Okay. So fission generators, multi-block. We need 4 ports. For one for water, one for your output of your coolant, your fissile fuel, and your radioactive waste. Yep, and then we build it up anywhere from 3 by 4 by 3 to 18 by 18 by 18. Build the frame out of fission reactor casing, so all along the edges. You can cap the top and the bottom, and then fill the walls with reactor glass or more casing. I only got us enough glass for one side. I don't feel like we're going to have enough room in here to really see into the thing anyways. And it says the more you put, the faster the reactor burns fuel. On top of the pillar, place a control rod assembly. And that looks like that is 1 block below the top there. They cannot touch the sides. What? One for fuel input, coolant input, heated coolant output, and radioactive waste. And now it's complete. Okay. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do that. All right. I did not make enough casing initially and had to go make some more. So I don't know if it got caught on camera or if I did this in between, but I went ahead and just put things down just like we saw in our image before. And we just need to fill in this base with these casings, but this was kind of how the ponder showed us. So we are going to give it a go. I needed 2 more control rods because I realized I was out of those. So now we need to put one, nope, not there. Not standing on it. There. Then we need to fill in the top with casing and all the walls. Can we sneak in here and get the inside? Let's put some extra down and then see if we can't fill it in. Okay, and then we can just take these 2 out. Casings. When we finish this wall, we should see a particle effect if we have assembled it correctly. Nope, something is missing. Wait, we need to make one of these an output, 2 of these an output, right? Wrench. Nope, what did we miss? What are we missing? Oh, I think it said they can't touch the side. Oh, no, we're missing this whole side. Haha, that's why it didn't complete. Okay. I was like, I swear this will work. Now we should get the particle effect. Ta-da! All right. So now we should be able to right-click you with the wrench, or is it configurate, or which one is it? Configurate heat, energy, slurries, pigments, fuse gases. Oh, there we go. Output waste, output coolant, output waste. And then you can output coolant. So for the coolant one, like we said, I'm going to try the trash can. We're going to see what happens. And then for the input one, we are going to input from our AE2. So let's bring over some cable. And then we're going to put our P2P right here. Like that. And then we're going to pull some cable off of it after we give it the channels. Let's give it our channels. And then since this is the only one inside the cube, we're going to just stick it right over here for now on the wall. Mainly because I didn't remember to bring any cobble. And then now, this is going to be fun. So we're going to bring this over. And this one is going to get water. So we're going to need 2 export buses. We're going to need an export bus for fizzle fuel and an export bus for water. So let's go grab those. Export buses. Yep. Cool. Let's grab some acceleration cards, especially for the coolant, because that's what makes these things ramp up is, you know, like if you can't cool them, they blow up. Now, export buses here. We want you are going to export fizzle fuel and you are going to export water. We can go ahead and tell the water to go ahead. Water. And then we'll move this over to sodium once we get our turbine figured out. We'll probably end up using quantum entangleporters to move our steam at that point. But it looks like the coolant tank is starting to fill up. And we've got it full of acceleration cards. So it's going to take this thing a minute to fill with water. It looks like it holds a lot of coolant. Yeah, a whole lot. Stats. Heat capacity. Does it show me my coolant capacity? No. Okay. Temperature right now is good to go. Now on this one, we're going to export fizzle fuel. Now this shouldn't start doing anything until we tell it to activate. So right now it's off. So we're going to try ultimate pipes. I know we have some of those. So we're going to try to output there, output into that, and see if that will output there. And then we also are going to need mechanical pipes here for our radioactive waste barrels. Nope. These don't connect to it. So what do we need for radioactive waste? Is that a chemical pipe? Thermo pressurized tube for gases. Okay. Yep, pressurized tube. So we can take these, since they don't have any waste in them yet, and let's put them on the top. Now we can tell you to export output waste. That's the one we want. Output coolant. Okay. So still working on getting coolant into it, but let's hit activate and see if it explodes. Oh God, that noise. Woo! But it looks like the steam is not going into that trash can, but steam is not a fluid. It's a gas. So we need yeah, let's go get one of them pipes before we let this run anymore. But it looks like we're fine on running right now. And where is our waste at? All right, 42 millibuckets. Okay, so this thing actually looks like we're okay, but we are getting ready to run out of water. So let's turn it off. So scram it. And we definitely got to get that coolant tank filled up before we do anything else. And we need to get a way to get the steam out for now. So yeah, let's go do that. We need, what was it? Pressure. Pressurized tube. Okay. So make some of these. Let's go 8. And then let's make some more pressurized tube up to that tier, to this tier, to the ultimate tier. So that way, if this thing gets to really cranking, we've got enough you know, throughput, essentially. All right, so here we go. We needed one of these up here for the coolant output. There we go. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it is voiding it. Huh, that's so cheeky. Yeah. Sort of makes me wonder whether or not we should add another port, but I don't know if that's going to spill our fizzle fuel out or if it retains it. Not real sure, and I don't want to break it right now. So we're just going to let it go. Oh my gosh, our waste has already evaporated in the 60 seconds. So putting it into these should only be as like a buffer in case we overflow it. Ugh, that's frustrating. All right, how are we? Where am I? Is this working? Is my mic on? Yes, okay. So now that we know this works, this needs time to fill up with water before we could run it for a long time. I'm also going to try, because we know that this doesn't export nearly as fast as like an ultimate pipe off of an ender tank will. So let me grab a an ender tank, some ultimate pipe, and then I'm going to go ahead and make our isotopic centrifuge thing, because the waste won't degrade once it becomes the plutonium we need. And therefore, we will pump it through and turn it into plutonium, put that into a barrel, and we can hold that while it's making. So give me just a second to get that stuff together, and we will proceed. All right, gathered all of our stuff together. I swapped out these pipes for some ultimate ones, hoping that we'll have enough to do some more basic upgrades to get more ultimate pipes, but we just want them for the throughput. We want them for the ability to move the stuff faster in case all of the speeds on all this gets picked up later. I'd rather them just already be the final tier of our pipe, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, we need to take this. So what this is going to be is this will be a buffer just in case we back up on plutonium. There's a spot for the waste to go into and decay just in case we don't catch it. So now we need to take our isotopic centrifuge, and into the back, we want to input our nuclear waste. And then out of the front, we are going to want to output our plutonium. Now, plutonium, if you go look at it in the JEI, let's make this an output first. Okay, so there we go. And then if we go in here to JEI and we take a look at our plutonium, you will notice it says will not decay inside of a radioactive waste barrel. So that means that if we put it in here, it's going to sit in this barrel until we're ready to use it, which we need 5,000 buckets of. And these barrels, I do believe, hold 512 buckets each. So we only need a very small portion of what this thing will hold, but this will prevent what we saw a second ago when we turned it on, and that was our waste decaying faster than we could actually use it. Now, the last piece is we need power for our isotopic centrifuge. Let's grab out some cables, bring it over from this flux point. Oh, that was not where I wanted to put that. Hope that it connects from the top. It doesn't. Will you connect from the side? Nope. Oh my gosh, we got to run it like all the way to the bottom of the machine. Okay, that's ugly, but oh well, it has power. So now we have power. We have all of this. We have a lot more water in here, almost 8 million buckets. Let's activate and give it a test. So I see it pumping the nuclear waste. Oh, it's going to pump it into these barrels. So that is not going to work. We're going to have to set this up differently. Let me set these all to extract for right now, because we want it all coming into here. There we go. There's our plutonium. Now, if we want a buffer chest in here, we're going to have to do this differently. So we're going to have to wait till we turn it off. Actually, if we turn it off and let it process through, we can fix it right now. We just have to make sure there's no waste in any of the barrels when we break them. Okay, there's not any waste in them, so let's break these. And then here's what we're going to have to do to make this work the way I was intending for it. We're actually going to need to move this barrel here to right here. So what we can do is this is going to pull the waste out and put it into the top of the barrel. And then we are going to tell you to extract from the bottom, because you can only input and output to these waste barrels from the top and the bottom. So now this will act as a buffer. And if we need more, we can come off the side. So we could put another one here and we could pull this over the same way. Top will be an input, the bottom an output. And so now it will go into these chests and automatically get pulled into here. And then if and only if there is enough for it to process, it will run and process them. So now we should be set up where we can maintain a buffer, but it won't hold our nuclear waste for us in these barrels. They will just pass through until we end up with our plutonium. Awesome. Now, as you can tell, we only have 7 millibuckets. We need 5,000. So it's going to take a little while for this to generate what we need. The one last thing I said I was going to do was we were going to test an ender tank to see if it's better for filling our coolant. Eventually we will convert this over to sodium, but I don't think we have anywhere near enough sodium for that process yet. So let's put the ender tank here. Let's break this, grab those upgrades. Then we're going to take our ultimate pipe and see if this fills faster. Well, let's see. It's still using it faster than, so our limitation is our water, how fast our water's being generated. So, yeah, we might do better to bring one of the infinite water things, the little aqueous accumulators, maybe make a setup in here, pump directly out of that, or convert to sodium, but we're going to need lots of sodium. I'm talking billions of buckets of sodium. So, but either way, that gets us making our plutonium. And as you can see, it's going to take a little bit for us to get our 5,000, but that's going to wrap up the tail end of this row and get us all sorts of stuff. If this ends up being unlimited power, game changer, like changes the pace of the end of this pack. I don't know if we're going to be able to use it for everything, or if this is just a cell that will hold unlimited energy, so we still have to make the energy to put into it. I'm not sure. I've never played with it. I don't know much about that creative energy cell, but those creative element containers are going to be massive for the pace of all of our elemental craft stuff, which we do need a lot of in our current recipes. So now, before we get to the part where we're starting to handle any of these materials, let's go make our suit. That way we don't die of radiation poisoning. So, for our suit, let's go somewhere a little quieter because there's a lot of background noise here. How about over here at the house? I think the house tends to be pretty quiet. Okay. So we need orange cushions, which is orange wool, which we just need wool. So let's make a bunch of wool. We got a bunch of wool. Orange dye. Hey, what are my recipes for orange dye? Hopefully that's enough. And then orange dye. Let's just, yep, that's a whole stack of orange dye. Should be enough. All right, so we need orange wool. Make a whole stack of it. Just make sure we've got enough. So now we need to make orange cushions. Don't know how many we're going to need total, but there's 8. Orange sheet. So there's that. And now we need lead plates. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 lead plates. So 30. Sounds good. Okay, Geiger counter. We're going to need more lead plates for that. How? Why is it? Oh, because there's some in there currently. All right, so now let's make our helmet. Our chest. our legs. And now our boots are going to take different cushions. We need some black wool. So we need some black dye. Sure, that should be enough. Should be good. Black cushion. Hazmat boots. There we go. So there is our full radiation protection outfit. Let's grab another armor stand so we've got somewhere to stick it. A smooth stone slab. There we go. And then, yeah, so now if we stick it on, we should be able to toss it down. There we go. So now we have our hazmat suit for when we start handling our materials. That is going to be awesome. Now, we talked about this earlier, so let's go ahead and go over it before we get out of time. So I was worried about what was going into this chemical disc because, it had something other than fissile fuel go into it, which I still haven't figured out what that color is, but there's only 0.2 buckets of it. So I'm guessing it's some chemical that has a full tank that we can't push it back into. But yeah. So the cell workbench, the way this goes, I don't think it needs to be online at all, but you stick a cell in here and you can change the thing. So copy the contents of the configuration pane, controls if it's removed, and we can clear them, and then partition. So configures partition based on currently stored items, which we don't have any of that. But what we want to tell this one is we want to tell this one that all you can hold is fissile fuel. So let's go look up our fissile fuel. We'll drag it over here, and then configures partition based on currently stored items. So now, oh wait, sorry, that clears it. So now we want to just tell it fissile fuel. And this should only allow this disk to hold fissile fuel. So if we stick this in here, the only thing, I made a 256. Oops, that's a lot of fissile fuel, but that's fine. So the only thing that disk is capable of holding is fissile fuel, period. It won't take any other chemicals, and then we have an extra one just in case we have other chemicals go in there. But that's what the cell workbench is for. You can do it for items and everything else. So all of the stuff that we had set up here, we in theory could use partition and cells and all to do it in AE2. The problem with all that is it's a whole lot more of a pain to have to stick your drive in here, think about, I need it to store it, and then take that drive and put it somewhere else, or put it in and then pull it back out, and then, oh God, it's full of items that I didn't have, it's just kind of crazy. Could we do it? Most certainly, especially with the extended stuff, with the extended disk drives and all. We could most likely eliminate every single one of these drawers with a partitioned disk and get all of this drawer storage gone and into our AE2. But why change it? It's not broken. It's working the way it is. It's something I'm familiar with, and we are so late game, I ain't trying to redo that. Now, if we got into AE2 earlier, or if you get into AE2 earlier in a pack you're playing, you most definitely would be able to, do that early on and not use drawers at all. It's just drawers was what we had. This was our storage before we ever even thought about getting AE2 or were able to. So, why would we want to have to move it all when we don't have to? So with that got us to the production of our plutonium. It's probably going to take a little bit of AFK time between now and next episode for us to get enough of that made to make our 5 pellets to move on to the last tier of the in-game quest. But with that also brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, for your continued views and support of my channel. The kind words you guys say in the comments that make me feel good and want to keep doing this, they don't go unappreciated. So thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so that you're aware when the future episodes drop. And we will see you all next time.